Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by A.G. Hines Company. Next season is going to be the 20th year of the Sports Source, our 20th years of covering the Vols, and thanks to you for that. That's all you. In conjunction with that, we're going to be building a brand new set, new everything here. But that set, where am I going to go for building materials? How about that 101-year-old company that just happens to be on my show, A.G. Hines Company. They've been providing East Tennesseans with the best building materials money can buy for 101 years, folks. That's all I need to say about them. That tells you what kind of quality product they sell, what kind of customer service you'll get, and what kind of great company they are with good people behind it. 4 generations of the Hines family have been involved in this. Whether you're running the biggest contracting company in East Tennessee or you got a do-it-yourself home project, A.G. Hines Company is where you need to start. You see the phone number. You can also check them out online. They are right on Hines Street in downtown Knoxville. Okay, let's welcome in the next 2 members of the panel. Sitting here, the Vols must have won because he's in his orange.
That's right.
We got VFL Sterling Hinton, and right down there on the other end, VFL Daniel Hood. Congratulations to the Doves are happy today.
Flying high, baby.
This is our Hot Reads segment. We got 1 question for each pairing, so I'll start with Sterling and Jimmy. Does the potential fun reward for players, because let's face it, those guys, you go out against Georgia, I don't know how much fun that is. And they got a chance last night to go kick somebody's butt, and a lot of guys, safeties, kick returns, touchdowns, tackles for loss, guys who normally aren't in there are in there. Does the potential for reward and the potential to gain backups experience outweigh the risk of injury? Because when you see Cade Mays go down early, and we don't know how serious that is, but my first thought was, well, there you go. That's what you get playing South Alabama. Which is greater? Does the reward for the players and the experience for the backups outweigh the risk of injury? Sterling.
I say it definitely outweighs the risk of injury because football is football. It's always business, John P. It's always business. And, I'm quite certain Florida State's saying right now, well, we should have handled more business against Jacksonville State beginning of the season. And you get a chance to dress more players out of conference. And trust me, the starters do not get a chance to improve their level to perform on Saturday without some of those guys that do not make the dress squad during the SEC games. So it's definitely more reward in these games, and it's even great reward when you win like we won last night.
So in other words, a game like last night, I hadn't really thought about that. Game like last night could help your scout team, which in turn helps your starters.
The more you win, the more people you can play inside of a win, it helps the team as a whole and the culture.
Jimmy, you agree?
I agree with Sterling. You had 7 different players that scored a touchdown, and you can get injured against South Alabama or anybody else.
You can trip on a helmet.
Hey, and we know that's happened in Tennessee, don't we?
It's a fact.
So I think it does outweigh the risk of injury. Look, anytime you step on the field in a football game, you could get hurt. But I think the fun that they had, the playing that many different people, I think there's I think it helps the chemistry of the team, and it helps some of those young guys get some experience.
I can deal with 1 or 2 of those a year. Give me a 10-game Power 5 schedule with no FCS teams. I'm a happy man. You can have 2 South Alabamas a year, but I don't want to deal with 3 of those in an FCS. All right, Daniel and Josh. Better for your record.
John, is that because you take the FCS games out of the graphics so you don't have to do as much math?
Exactly. It's much easier. Daniel and Josh, Joe Milton came in the 4th quarter, kept the foot on the gas. Gaston Moore, Tennessee's 3rd-string quarterback, who I wonder how many people knew Gaston Moore was the 3rd-string quarterback before last night. He came in and kept the foot on the gas. They were still snapping the ball with 10, 12, 15 seconds on the play clock. The announcers at the end of the game said, you talk about having a 4-minute offense. It wouldn't hurt to practice it. Okay. So my question for you is, should they have practiced it last night, albeit with backups, or should they have said, our backups never get a chance. Let them run the offense. Well, did they get it right or wrong last night?
Well, I think it's a mix in the conversation back to what Sterling and Jimmy are saying. I think maybe you practice a little bit earlier in the game because you've already built up that lead with your starters, and then you go back to what you want to run more consistently or more often with the backups when they come in. Because if Joe Milton's coming in the 1st or 2nd quarter, he has to run what you normally do. So
Right.
I think you want to scale things back with your starters and then hit the gas again with the backups.
Old Derek Dooley, to quote a legend there, he said you've got frogs and you got scorpions, and the scorpions are going to do scorpion things all the time. So I'm all for going fast the entire time because you've got to build up that muscle memory of what it is, get that practice in, and I think Tennessee likes to slow it down in different ways other than just not snapping fast. But I think who you are, you do what you do, you snap it fast, and you practice it every single day. That's your advantage. That's what you're trying to do to create a 10x different product than anyone else. So don't lose that.
We've talked about this a little earlier in the season, and that is, as much as Heupel says, we can play at different speeds, I haven't seen them play at a different speed when it really looked good. So
Except for Missouri. Second half.
So one half on the season.
That's right.
When it worked.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen much of it. So
Yeah.
I don't know that I trust that they do have a second gear that really works. But I don't know that practicing it against South Alabama is going to convert it into a successful second gear either. So maybe you're best just to go ahead and keep the foot on the gas with the backups. All right, guys, very interesting. When we come back, the season is almost over, and already one UT assistant has interviewed for another job. How much are we concerned about keeping this staff together? And is the concern about keeping the staff together greater now than we ever anticipated it would be at the beginning of the season? Come on back on the Sports Source.